Well, I'm India, Georgia's best friend.
Oh, you're India. Sis has told me a lot about you.
Well, strangely, she hasn't even mentioned you at all.
What's the deal with you in India?
I love India, but lately she just been acting real insecure and kind of low-key hating. You are making a fool of yourself in front of my friends.
Friends? Girl, you are so stupid. These people here are pretending to be your friends.
Get out!
Go to hell. You can go straight to hell.
We fall down, but we get back up. Struggles never hold us down. Keep the semi-auto tuck. You can't never try.
I have a question for you ladies. Do you need a man? If the answer is yes, stay tuned for today's hot topic. This is Vanessa Lynn, author of I Need a Man, available wherever books are sold. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment, and tell a friend about I Need a Man. Now enjoy today's show.
Well, I'm India.
We don't need to do that again. All right. Okay. All right, guys, we're not doing any waiting period today. So if everybody can share the link and let people know that we are on. We usually give them about 10-15 minutes, but we just got too much to talk about today. And so if they come in late, they'll just have to catch it. But if everybody could just share the link to their page, we can get going. Hang on. Let's see here. All right. All right. Hello, everybody. Hang on. I'm sharing it. All right. And I'm going to tag a couple people. All right. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Hey, fam.
How is everybody? Do we have everybody up on the screen? How's everybody doing today?
Fantastic. Well, how's everybody doing?
Great.
All right, so we got a whole crew here today. What's up, Kevy Kev?
Hey, how you doing?
All the way in the A by way of H Town, Detroit, HP Town, Detroit. That's Highland Park, Detroit. What's going on in the A? I also got my good friend, Dr. Ladre Weathersby. What's up, Doc?
I'm doing well, sis. How you doing? I'm struggling to get his link.
Oh, it's the Facebook link. Just share the Facebook link. All right, so that's my good friend there. What's up, JJ Shun?
What's up, Vanessa?
How's it going?
Oh, pretty good. Looking to see what this topic looks like for folks.
I know. Everybody's been waiting on this topic, so I'm waiting on everybody to log in. Thino, what you eating over there?
I don't even want to tell you.
Thino, what you got? You gotta you on air. You gotta share what you eat.
I baked some cookies.
Okay.
And I put some ice cream on top with a little drizzle of Hershey syrup. I'm on. Look.
Oh man, I'm jealous because I can't have none of that stuff. All right, y'all. We were out last week. I was a little under the weather, and so and I never do that, but I was a little under the weather, so I was like, I'm not feeling the best, so let's just wait till this week. So I need y'all to tag people, let them know that we are on. We're doing no waiting period today. We usually do about 10-15 minutes, but we're jumping right in. So those is late, you can hopefully catch up. Today, we talking about money. We are talking about money, and more specifically, we are talking about wealth. All right. So before we dive into it, fellas on the panel, we have an article up, and this is kind of good evening, Crystal. This is kind of kind of popular knowledge for those that in this space, that the experts are predicting, and this is experts in the Black community as well as other communities, that if things continue as they are, the African American wealth is set to hit zero by 2053. But let me ask you something, fellas. How can that be when everybody getting a bag, everybody getting paper, everybody taking trips, everybody getting good money? How is it possible that we're set to hit zero wealth? Is this the man hating? What's up with that? Who wants to dive into that first?
I think collectively, as a whole,
Yes.
I think our definition of wealth and what wealth actually is are two totally different things. For us, wealth is taking trips and buying stuff and giving the illusion that we actually have money.
Right.
But that's
Right.
all money going out and not coming in and being saved and being invested. So I think, we have to be open collectively to be educated about money and finance and investments and all that stuff. And then we need to take that knowledge and information and apply it, because we're in bad.
That's right. But you made a good point, Kevin, that basically when we talk about wealth and money, we base it what we can buy.
Yeah.
Doc Dre, what do you think about we're set to hit zero by 2053? This is your line of work. So what do you feel about that?
Speechless, because for those who don't know, I actually teach high school full time during the day. I've been building my coaching business and putting it together and doing it in a way that's solid. If things don't change, we screwed, because we still listen to Susie Orman and we still listen to Dave Ramsey. I was telling somebody real quick, if you have a loan at 28%, then listening to Dave Ramsey talking about pay it off is not the right advice.
Right.
Because it's you're going to pay 3 times whatever you have just because it's 28%. So since most of us got bad credit, we can't do that. We can't take what he said the way he said it. We got to go from 28% to 18 to 11 to 5. And then we could try to pay some stuff off. Otherwise, we're just giving the banks more money. Another conversation. Yeah. Circle.
Okay. So basically, your thing is, if we don't change, this is accurate.
Yeah. And the worst part is the stamina that we have mentally as an older people, this current generation.
Yeah.
I had a kid today just trying to follow basic math. He showed me some pants. He's like, these are $1,000 pants. I said, they are? He said, these $1,000 shoes. I said, they are
$1,000.
He's 16. He said, oh, I had to get these because I do music. I said, well, what would have happened had you took the $2,000 that you had, made it $6,000, and then still bought the pants with $4,000 left? He's like,
right.
Oh shit.
Instead of taking all your money and buying $1,000, that is crazy. That is crazy.
He said, yeah, Big Twin, that I ain't never thought about that. You just fucked my whole head up. Shit.
Yeah. That's sad. Jason, what do you think? We're set to hit zero wealth by 2053.
It's floss culture. Everybody is so pressed about looking good for the gram. They want to stunt, they want to shine, they want to look like they look like they're rich, when they don't really understand. You can look like you're rich all you want to. You can hop a flight all the time, make it look like you're balling, catch your used to be $50 tickets on Spirit, and pop bottles in Miami, throw it up in the club, and buy some expensive bottles, and then come back home and still living in nothing that you rent, and with your milk crate furniture and the old couch and all that. But the bigger issue is that You know, just like Doc said, you're buying $1,000 pair of jeans or $1,000 pair of Yeezys, or you don't try to flip that money.
No.
And it's a whole thought process of good enough. I'm doing
Right.
better than him or her, so that's good enough. So if I'm doing just a little bit better than everybody else, I can still buy my whatever your relaxation of choice is, whether it be video games and you spend $1,000 on a PS5, or you got a daily weed habit, or you just got a club every day. Everybody's too pressed about trying to kick back and relax. When you have your youth, your 20s and your 30s, you need to be working towards trying to make more money than just being average. Because if you stay average, you're going to run out of air to breathe. And nobody's thinking about down the line. Nobody cares about when I get older and my health fails, because your health will fail. How much more is that going to cost me? Some disparate circumstances. People just aren't thinking about it because nobody's telling them that they need to.
And that's a problem. Dino, that cookie looking good over there.
It's all gone now. So I'm listening to what the other brothers are saying. Kind of took a lot of, my sting. So I'm going to go a different direction. This generation, like the high school students, like Jim was saying, how talking about his clothes and his shoes. This generation is exactly the same as our parents' generation. And just hang on. You might be like, no. Yes, it is. Because our grandparents were the savers. Our grandparents were the ones who actually been through real Jim Crow, real, going to the bank getting denied for no reason because of your ethnic or your skin color. You see what I'm saying? It was them. It was our grandparents that were the workers, the savers, and putting in everything, blood, sweat, and tears to put a roof over the family's head, to do everything the right way. And it was our parents' generation. I'm not singling out any one of our particular parents. I can say mine. I know mine is an example of what I'm talking about, but
right.
I'm generally speaking, it was the baby boomers. They were the spoiled ones. They were the ones who were the beneficiaries of an economy that opened up to them for the first time after the civil rights legislation. In fact, as a matter of fact, 1972 is the year.
That's the year I was born.
1972 is the year that the middle class income originated. Now, I'm not saying they were middle class, because they weren't middle class. They got a middle class income that was based off of the only manufacturing business in town was the United States. This was after World War II. It was after the Korean War. It was after the Vietnam War. Every other place in the country got bombed to the poorhouse. They were building up their societies based on the labor of our parents. That's why they were able to go to Ford, get tired of that job. I don't like how he talked to me. I quit. Go down the street, get hired at GM. Oh, I don't feel like doing this. I'm going to go be a fireman. They go be a fireman. 1972 was the year that you could go and do anything you wanted. You could have bought all the storefront, especially in Detroit. You could have bought all the storefront property you wanted because, hell, we just burned it down and the white flight happened. It was available. Okay. Yeah. But what happened was our parents dropped the ball. Okay. They dropped the ball. We didn't get the knowledge of, okay, pick up the pieces from what our grandparents did and let's put our money into these cleaners, the dry cleaner business that left, the party store business that left. We didn't do that. I'm gonna tell you what our parents' generation was doing. They was too busy trying to be Superfly. They the black exploitations. They wanted to go see the Super Freaks. If you ask your parents, hey, what were you doing in 1973, 74? They're not gonna tell you, oh, I was trying to get this business going. Me and your uncle was trying to do. No, they're gonna show you a photo album of a party somewhere where they had on some knee-high leather boots and tell you about when the Temptations came. So we didn't get that. I'm yelling. I'm trying. Let me take it down.
You all right?
Rumble on, brother. Rumble on.
So we didn't get that knowledge of building wealth and establishing wealth, which, might I add, would have been the first time that terminology should have been introduced into our community, because our grandparents just came from World War II and dealing with racism, Jim Crow, and being redlined. And so the idea of wealth, that wasn't their conversation. Their conversation was backbone, blood, sweat, and tears. And I bought this house, and I want you to get an education. And the world opened up for our parents. Our parents dropped the ball. It was all about, hey, go get you a job. I got mine. Yeah, but you got a job by answering the ad in the paper. And they offered a pension. You got 3 good jobs that can't nobody get today. You got a mortgage. Your mortgage was $12,000. Brand new Cadillac was $2,500. So their advice, they have no advice to give to our kids. It doesn't apply. Number one. Okay. Number two, we didn't get that from them. So for years, we were fledging along, trying to be sharp, wear the nicest clothes, look like we doing something, just like our parents did in the 70s. Okay, it's the same thing. We didn't start to get this type of energy and understand, like, whoa, wait a minute, until maybe the late 90s. And that's a fact. That's a fact. It might not be the truth for everybody, but we weren't talking about life insurance policies and compound interest.
Right.
None of that until like the late 90s. It's us. We are the builders right now. We are too busy picking up the pieces from our parents' generation, the Motown generations. You know, everybody want to doo-wop sing and Temptations and the Four Tops and do all of this or whatever. They wasn't saving money either. They didn't save a dime. They bought a house, bought a Cadillac, and bought a boat and told you better get a job. Better do like I did. Okay. So we're on our own with that. So you're right. If we don't pass on what we know now to our kids, and it may not be them, because they are the mirror image of our parents. It may be our grandkids. If we can hold on long enough, they'll be the ones to pick up. Because, by the way, we might be the ones raising them, to be honest with you.
Well, that's a whole nother topic, but well, let's look at this for a minute. So I don't disagree with you, because if I think about my grandparents, my grandfather had land. He had houses. And I hate to say it, but my mom and her siblings, they sold it. What did everybody do with grandma and them land? They sold it. Now, if you look at the article, and this is and we're going to share a few articles. Our grandparents, what they did is they sent our parents to school, right? Because we want you to have it better. Can I be honest with you? From everything I'm reading, it looks like school, they made it worse. I'm not trying to be funny, and I'm not telling people not to go to school. But from everything I'm reading, with the student debt and everything, we're in worse shape than our quote-unquote uneducated grandparents, right? And so you see right here on the screen, it says, for decades, we've been told that education is the great equalizer. Unfortunately, more education does not automatically translate into wealth. Okay? It just doesn't. And we're going to take a look at some things that's going to be kind of shocking to people. But I can't disagree. I can't disagree with that. You know, around the 70s, which was the year I was born, 72 year I was born. They were into, hey, we arrived. We can buy, like I said, we can buy this, we can buy that, we can go on trips, we can do this, we can do all these things. And it was almost like we got to be better than our grandparents. And I hear people, this makes me so angry. I gotta be very honest, this makes me so angry, because I really hear from women. I really don't hear from men. I hear women say how stupid their grandmothers was, and she was this and she was that, and she couldn't work. But you're broke. I hear people talking about, well, women can have bank accounts, but grandma had money in her pillow, in her mattress. that she didn't have to pay overdraft fees on.
Right.
With her ignorant self. I'm not about to go there. Y'all pull me back if I go there, because this makes me angry when people talk about the older generation, right? So we talk about them like they're less than, but we don't have nowhere near what they have financially or morally, right? So you got them kind of two things.
Pause 1 sec, Vanessa. You just said something, and Thino, this goes back to what I want to say. The difference between this generation and our parents is they had morals.
Yes.
They had character. They may not have had the financial sense. And when I tell you, these kids right now, if a commercial come on for McDonald's, they all hungry for McDonald's.
Absolutely.
It don't matter if they just ate their favorite meal, because they don't have the morals, they don't have the character, they don't have the fortitude to decide. So we're actually worse. Not just because they have the same level of information, but they're not built on the foundation that our grandparents were built on.
And that's a big, and I don't think we understand, and I want to talk about that today. I did a little chart. I'm going to try to redo it. I'm going to talk about how actually our break, and Dr. Claude Anderson will too, our break with the communal has really also put us in this thing, because we have a mindset now, I'm going to get mine, I'm going to get mine, I'm going to get mine. We are the only people in the entire universe. When I say universe, and you're going to hear Dr. Claude Anderson say the same thing, there's not another race of people that do not understand to win, you cannot move by yourself. To win, it can't be you in your house. We're the only race of people in the entire universe that think that we are winning because we got $2 to go to Dubai and we don't own nothing in Dubai. We're the only race of people that think if me and my kids good, we're good. Nobody else thinks like that. Back in the grandparents' day, they didn't think like that. They moved in the community. So we don't understand when the community broke down.
Yeah, they moved us one back then.
There you go. When we started getting our butts beat to stop getting hamburgers at the black man got the hamburger joint, we skipping over his joint. We're gonna go over here and get our butt beat to get a white man some money for the hamburger. And then once we could get the hamburger from the white man, we done shut the black businesses down.
Well, that's a byproduct of integration. You know, everybody has their own thought and position about it. Yay, we can't be held back from this, that, or the other place anymore. But what it did was it took the lid off the pot that kept the money in the community, and it allowed us to, you know, feel freer, think bigger, and try to be like everybody else. And so now we're able to shop where, you know, we can go to, you know, Nordstrom's or Macy's or, you know, Bloomingdale's, and, you know, where we could only shop in the hood before. So besides that, you know, once the integration took place, we were also given propaganda to tell us how we should think and what lifestyle we should aspire to. So when you take that into account, you can actually find videos of what it takes to make the Negro man feel accepted in society. And Doc, I know you know it's a psychological operation that was performed on us masterfully.
And it was and that movement during that time, it originally wasn't downgraded to eating at white folks' lunch table. It became that. It was the movement itself, and the idea was subverted. It became, once you started talking about, okay, equality, meaning that if you're going to have schools that offer this over here, then it should not be banned or illegal to offer it to our people or people of color in as a whole. But here was the trick. Well, everything is fine when it doesn't cost the other side any money and finances. When it came down to, yeah, everyone can agree that you shouldn't drag a black man behind a pickup truck. That's easy to march in. Okay, sure, that's bad. It's bad to be violent to exude violence against another person because of the tone of skin. That was easy to get behind. But when it started, when you had leaders that in the movement that were talking about, okay, and this redlining, okay, and why is my house not worth anything but the house behind my house that's behind a wall? It has $30,000 in equity to where they can borrow off of their property and send their kids to school, where I can't send my kids to school, and you are manufacturing, taking out certain studies and skills out of the public schools to where my kid can't even get a basic skill to pay the bills without going to school. You see, when it came down to that, then that's when folks started kind of disappearing, and then it became, okay, sure, we all integrated so we can, spend money at white folks' establishments that we can't afford to buy stuff in anyway. Yay! Congratulations.
Right. Listen,
and a whole generation was put in the trick bag because they felt a sense of pride now that they could go down to Macy's or Hudson's or whatever it was called and spend a half a month's pay on some clothing that they ordinarily wouldn't have even been able to walk into that store. Then it became an accomplishment to spend money with white folks.
Absolutely. And I don't think that's broken. Let's take a listen to this clip really quick. This is part of a bigger work. But if you guys do not know who Dr. Claude Anderson is, and that's Claude without an E, it's really Claud. He is the undisputable foremost expert in Black finance, Black wealth, Black economics. Get all of his books, Black Labor, White Wealth, Powernomics. He has so many out there, but he's literally the foremost expert. He comes from a long line of doing things in politics. I believe he worked under the Reagan administration. He was high up in education. He's just a wealth of knowledge, and he's who the financial people look to. Okay. And so this is and he's really big on history. This is why I'd be so big on history, because he said, if you don't know how you got into a thing, you can't get out. You can't get out. So actually, I wish I could share it. It's a little lengthy. I would love to share the beginning of this, but I'll put the link to this whole message here. But he talks about from the beginning with the slave trade, how literally one of the first guys to have slaves was a Black guy. But I'm not gonna play that clip. I'm gonna play this clip.
He was on Frederick K. Price.
Yep.
Okay, I saw.
All right, so we're gonna listen to this is a quick snippet of Dr. Claude Anderson.
It'll say, I'm gonna practice that masters, gold, silver, and I'm gonna be against them black folk. I guarantee I can get you a radio talk show. I can get you a television show. I can even get you an appointment to the Supreme Court. Okay? You tell me how many black folk you will sell out, I guarantee I show you how to make money. Because you see, every ethnic group, every religious group, every racial group, every political group has always made money off of black folk. Okay? And what I'm going to start talking about in Powernomics when I come back here in the fall is to show you all one thing. I'm going to tell you is time is up. You have made, as a race, you made every religion, every ethnic group, every racial group rich. There is nobody else left on earth to make rich but yourselves. So that's all left. We got to do it for ourselves now. So don't give me this stuff about Dr. Anderson. That's the reverse discrimination. We are anti. You ain't anti nobody. You already made everybody rich. Now we're talking about well, Dr. Anderson, what you're preaching isn't that segregation? Or, let me tell y'all something. Starting again, back in 1850, blacks got hung up on that same mess, you know? By 1850, after Harry B. Stowe put out a book, here comes Frederick Douglass, he's gonna take one path. He's going to go back now and try to pick up becoming an integrationist. He becomes an integrationist, taking that. He wants, well, since they excluded us in 1638, saying we should never be permitted to enjoy the fruits of white society, let's be integrationists and civil rights people. Let's make them let us in. So they started a top plan called integration, which will run Frederick Douglass, Booker T. Washington, then up to all your civil rights leaders, Martin Luther King, and that whole group, all the way down the line, even your present day civil rights groups. They keep saying, we want access to whatever you own. We want to be included in whatever you own. Now you got another group that started after the book with Harry B. Stover. They said they want to be segregationists. Then you got the more strongly willed persons, like W.B. Du Bois. Then you got Martin Delaney. You got Marcus Garvey. You got Malcolm X and Elijah Muhammad. They were going another way, saying, no, we want our separate stuff. Now, what I say by myself, and I know a lot of people might get upset when I say it, both groups were right and both groups were wrong.
Both.
What I say is that it is not about integration. It is not, the issue is not segregation. The issue is congregation. It means aggregating. What it is called functional pluralism, which means we're not trying to integrate, we're not trying to segregate. No other group comes here and says, I want to integrate and segregate. What they're saying is that if I come together and concentrate as a people, concentrate my power and my wealth and my resources, I can compete. That's what they're talking about. And please, I love all of you, I'm going to move you with you. They used to ask me that during integration about Dr. Anderson. Now, you at the governor office in Florida, you represent the whole state in education. Now, what do you want during integration? Do you want, you got Malcolm X talking about segregation, you got Martin Luther King talking about integration. Why don't y'all make your mind, what do you want? I said, I don't want either one. I want the same rights and privileges that everybody else got to go to either one of the sticks. Don't try to put me on one end of the stick. What I want more than anything else is to bring my people together and say, get all the power and the wealth together like everybody else. And that way, quit trying to give us, try to define us. You see, every Asian, for instance, when he leaves his homeland and comes to America, he looks in the mirror and says, I'm going to America. And when I get to America, I'm going to find me a community of people that either look like me or I'm going to build me a community that look like me.
Absolutely.
That have my values, my culture, my language. Nobody asked him about integration or segregation. When Hispanics come to this country, they would say, I'm going and I'm going to build me a community of people that look like me or sound like me. And like the Asians who set up Little Havana, who set up Little Cambodia, Little Vietnam, Chinatowns in every city. The Hispanics come in there and build Little Mexico, Little Havana, Little Hialeahs. I can go across America and find Germantown, Frenchtown, Greektown, Polishtown, but I can't find a black town. Because of our inappropriate behavior pattern with the Rodney, we keep trying to integrate. Nobody else is trying to integrate. Why would you try to integrate? I just told you in 1790 the law says in the Constitution that the majority will win and the minority will lose. If the majority will win and the minority will lose, why would you ever do anything to break yourself into small pieces? When you already a plan systematically program a minority. Now you got other people in a category called minority. You got women, gay, Hispanic, anything you want. Midgets, Hispanics, anything you want. But nobody goes by and say how many you can have. You hear everybody say we're going to have so many women in the country, or so many midgets in the country, or so many gay in the country, or so many they only thing they say is you must have is so many blacks. We're the only people. And see, and another thing I understand, I told you last time here, is that you got to remember that you are the only non-immigrants in America. The only non-immigrants. So when you start using a word for yourself, always call yourself a non-immigrant. Don't call yourself anything else other than that. Don't call yourself a minority. And to some degree, If you really want to be slick, I wouldn't even call myself an African American.
He gets into that. It's so much in here. Okay, so let's talk about this for a minute, guys. And he talks so much. I hate that we can only share that much of the clip, but I'll put the whole clip in there so people can watch it because he really, really breaks it down. But all Dr. Anderson has been talking about, and that's really all he talks about, is if we don't move as a collective group, we're never going to win. The majority always wins. And he was like, we already the minority. Now we've broken up into groups. So y'all, let's talk about that because, you know, I believe, and Dr. Anderson talks about it, this one of the reasons that we're on the way to wealth zero. We don't understand. And he talks earlier about us not trusting each other. Again, I wish I could play that clip. It's just a little bit too long. So let's get into this, y'all. What do you think?
Yeah, I think, you know, I've often found it interesting. With all the technology that we have today, they did more with less back then.
Yes.
Because they had a commitment to each other as a people.
Yep.
And like the reason the Montgomery bus boycott worked in 1955 is because all the black people in the United States fought under one common banner.
Yes.
So we got the laws changed. We did that. So we don't have that kind of commitment to each other anymore. We have a selfish spirit now.
Yeah.
So if my household is eating and their household is eating it and not eating, the hell with them. We ain't starving. You know, and it doesn't bother us that our brother and sister are struggling. You know, back then, I'm sure everybody had a grandparent or somebody who was always the one taking somebody in, feeding.
Always,
giving them clothes, giving them wisdom. And unfortunately, the 40 to 50-year-old generation, which most of, if not all of us, fall under, we're the grandparents now. You know?
Yeah.
I'm 42. I know several people who have multiple grandkids, and they're younger than I am.
Yeah.
So
34.
that is ignored and B, dying off. So that's what I think it is more than anything. You know, we got all the technology to move whatever mountains we want to move, but unfortunately, it's just not a priority anymore.
And we don't seem to get it. We don't. Yeah.
They didn't have a choice back then. They had to stick together, or they wouldn't have survived. We have choices now. We have options now, like the brothers were alluding to. And since we have those options, we choose what we want, what's best for us, and not what's best for our people.
And we don't get that. And I think my main thing with all of this is that we think we winning. I think that's the funny part. We think we winning, and everybody around the world is looking at us like, okay. Yeah. Dre, what you think? Moving as a collective.
We do move as a collective, and the majority does win. It's just that the majority is the bullshit now.
Right.
Like, you mean to tell me that you have? So listen, I'm gonna get in trouble. It is the truth anyhow. I had a nephew staying with me, not biological. And when the Lord told me, I think it was December the 10th, he checked me real good, said, deal with him. You know better. Yes, sir. Well, I gave him some paperwork and some numbers. And the month of February, I just got caught up in getting the truck done, all this other stuff done. I looked up, this Negro still owed me $60 from September.
$60.
So that would include October, November, December, January, February, or half of March. So you're right. I saw Grandmama take folk in, but I didn't get the stories that Grandmama got burned.
No, right.
And I'm okay with that because it's part of life.
Yeah.
But here's the crazy part. The rent was $650. What grown man can't come up with $1,000 a month?
Well, he spent $1,000 on weed and Yeezys.
I don't know what he was. No,
the rent is last.
This one didn't work much. That's another conversation. Because this new generation is scared to work. Like, after 3 minutes of thinking, they tap out. They collapse.
You're not incorrect. Yeah, you're not incorrect. I don't know how they're gonna function as adults. I just don't. But you're not incorrect. whatsoever. Jason, what do you think? Dr. Claude talks about moving as a collective, and this is where we lacking.
Well, a couple things. I kind of agree with Doc. It's an educational problem. Everybody was told that this is the standard you should aspire to. United Negro College Fund. You got a, GI Bill. You got to go to college. And like Mathino said, you took skills out of the school systems and told everybody that they need to go and get these degrees. So now you got a degree as a teacher, where the most you're going to make is starting off $34,000 a year, but you have $200,000 in student loan debt. It's unsustainable. Or you went and get my favorite degree, criminal justice. What the hell are you going to do with that? What criminal justice job can you get coming out of school that's going to justify all that you did? You didn't go for a real degree. You just got tired of being in school, and this got you to graduate. Same thing for being a social worker. You ain't got nothing in your space that makes sense about being a social worker, and you hate kids, but you're going to go deal with somebody else's kids. You don't have none of your own. So, okay, let's go with that. We got a mountain of technology available to us, but we use it to crush ourselves. So, we get distracted with all these fantasies, and instead of talking about things that are facts and statistics, we don't want to do anything. We have a 30-second mindset attention span. So that's why TikTok is so popular.
Right.
There you go. 3 seconds. There you go.
Right.
If you don't hook me in 3 seconds, I'm done. And that's how people are.
3 seconds. Yeah.
Little jackrabbit.
Why we don't have wisdom? Because we got the 30-year-old grandmother.
Yes.
Since the 90s.
Yep.
So if from my grandmother was 60s for 60 plus years old from the time I can remember. If I had to ask her something, she'd been through something. Now, I may not have liked what she had to say, but at least I knew I needed to respect her, because at least for her age and her experiences.
And she gave you some structure and some discipline and some values. You know what I'm saying?
At least a little bit, yeah.
Yes.
But some of the things that with the group economics, what I can say is I've been in real estate over 20 years, and I've been in thousands of homes and businesses across Metro Detroit. And one of the things that I saw was, you saw what it looked like when the flight took place and the money all washed out to the suburbs. It literally looked like the tide of water went away, because now you got grandma's house that, grandma's still in it, and she live in Boston Edison, or she live in Indian Village back when it was inexpensive. Now that big old house that we had dinners at and all that kind of stuff, it needs a boatload of work. And nobody, grandma passed, there was no will. We go to fight over it in probate court. I want my 50 cent. And then some poor unlucky person has to unload that estate. And nobody has the credit. Nobody has resources. Nobody has the contacts to fix the house. So now we going to sell it or let it go for taxes. So now that was an economic opportunity to build wealth in the family. You cannot build wealth without real estate.
No,
it is very difficult, if not impossible, to build wealth and you don't own anything.
Right.
And nobody, for whoever who doesn't know it, over 54% of the city of Detroit is renter occupied. There are few homeowners in the city. And again, missed opportunities. Big story lately, Louisiana Creole. It's a staple business in the city of Detroit. It's been on Gratiot for forever.
Yes. I was
and
so
they
upset about this.
Didn't own the building
for 40-some years.
They're getting evicted right now.
40-some years.
And I had an opportunity back during 2008. I came across a 9-unit brownstone in New Center, and I couldn't get it financed. So I started to go down the group economics path. I went and approached a friend of mine, and I said, "Hey, got an apartment building. It's a 9-unit brownstone." "Oh, okay. What is it? Tell me about the deal." "Okay. Well, if we, I'm estimating rehab at the time, it was like maybe 25 a door. And we would have been, no more than 300 or 400 into the project, and it was 74 to purchase. Well, trying to finance anything under trying to finance anything in Detroit at the time was a near impossibility.
Yeah.
So, I ran the whole scenario down to him. I said, if we do the light rehab plus the purchase, we're going to be in this thing for, maybe 500 at the most. But even if we just hold it and rent those units out, it'll cover the carrying costs until the market returns. And then we can individually parcel these properties out, sell them all as individual condominiums, and do no less than 100 a door. And that was at the time. So, he said, hey, that sounds great. And I'm like, yeah, we should be able to clear, after all the bills are paid, at least 300.
Yeah.
He said, that sounds great. What you bringing to the deal? Oh, okay. I thought I was bringing you the deal, but okay, my mistake. His point was, well, okay, you're telling me about the deal and I have money, but why should I do anything with you? Fast forward 10 years later, he said, that was the greatest mistake I ever made, Jason. I wish you would, I wish I thought better about what you told me and I participated in the deal. I come across that kind of stuff. And when I've tried to tell people that look like us, about it, they're just not interested because they've been told you don't need that. And just a stat that I came across, Black ownership in the country peaked about 2007 under George Bush. And then it declined under Barack Obama.
Is that what you sent me?
It was a different page. It's Black home ownership 2005 to 2018, from Bush to Obama to Trump. It peaked at 46.5% in 2007, and at its low was 40.7% under Obama, and it is start to improve under Trump. I think we're back into the decline stage. You got to own something. You have to start.
Something.
And you don't have to be smart to participate in real estate. It's a simple man's business. It's a very simple business.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Dino.
I wanted to just kind of make a couple quick comments real fast. When it comes to moving as a collective unit, I think what people try to latch on to is this false sense of utopia of unity. First of all, we always hear this, we the Black people, the only people that don't have no unity. We can't unify nothing. Well, first of all, unity itself is a pie in the sky. Really, we Black people never had total unity. When I say Black people, you can take it back to the Saharan Africa. You had tribalism in Africa for as long as the time.
Always. Oh, he done froze up.
You can go back in historical Zulus invaded. You can take it all the way back. So what do you think we're going to do over here? White folks aren't even unified with each other. The first, both world wars were started because white folks couldn't get along. Okay, it's this thing that we need to unify. Well, first of all, I can't unify with ignorance. Number one, and if we don't believe in this, we don't have the same ideals. Ethically, morally, culturally, the same moral compass. That we can't. Hey, Kevin, that's a lot of light. You shining on me right there. I didn't notice that. Yeah. So motive B. So I think when we talk about unity, we have to find people that we are equally yoked with. Okay. Yeah. And build from that. That's the unity that we can build on and establish something. It doesn't mean everybody just because we the same complexion or because we share the same maybe histories. No, we have to have the same vision, focus, discipline, and then we can unify and move as a unit that way. That's the lesson in that I got. Also, what Jason was speaking about, everything that you're talking about with, you saw a young man and you talking about, you're bringing the deal to this, that's what family reunions really should be for. You got a family that's, you got grandma's house sitting here and it's got conditions going on, got business that needs to be attended to, or you got family members that aren't getting along, haven't spoken to each other in 2 to 3 years. This is when you establish your committees, your conflict resolution committees, your investment committees, you plan this out every year, every 2 years. and you make that happen, okay? And that's how you're gonna have some form of success with that. Waiting for, you know, the elder statesman or the woman, the grandma, to pass away. She didn't have a will, but you got that one auntie that like to take over everything, even though she's wrong as hell. It's nothing but a disaster that's going to happen with that anyway. So that's why I think that as far as a unit, family reunions are the time to establish that. Most of the time, family reunions that I see are nothing but just coming in. We're gonna get on this barbecue grill, gonna eat, drink, get drunk, and hey, I see y'all when I see y'all, and and that's that. And then the family units kind of, the glue melts away, and your family gets more distant, and then that's it. You only deal with 2 or 3 people in the family from now on, and property gets lost. Oh, what happened to granddad? Had all this timber down in Arkansas. I wonder what happened to it. Cousin so and so let the state take it. You see what I'm saying? So we have to, when it comes to unity, we have to take it upon ourselves and at least initiate that. And I guarantee you, some people are going to hear that and be willing to participate. And it may not jump off right at that minute, you know what I'm saying? But it's something that you can build on. And probably the next 3 years, you can have a team, that's moving and getting something done, because we got to start somewhere. I mean, where does it stop? We know how we began. We real heavy on the what do you call it, on the prescription, but how do we fix it? You know what I'm saying? We got to fix it by finding people that's like-minded, have the same vision, the same goals, and check ego to the side and just look for the greater good. And let's just move, one measurable goal at a time and move forward. And that's how we can kind of stop this trend, because we're getting ready to go extinct. Never mind being broke.
Completely extinct. No, completely extinct. Let me speak on what Dr. Anderson was saying. And I think when myself, and I believe Dr. Anderson, other people, I don't think nobody's talking about like a whole race of people getting together. You start with your tribe, right? Your tribe initially is your family. And it's crazy because we've kind of restarted our family reunion, and now we realize, my cousins and all that, this and they, 40s, 50s, some of them 60s, we are the aunties, uncles now, right? So we got to plan the family reunions. And so one of the things that we're talking about is talking about finances and things like that, not just getting together, having a good time, which we should do, but talking about things to build wealth and all that. And so Danetta had asked, how do we fix this? Well, we don't know it's a problem. And we don't want to get the information to understand it's a problem. And guess what? You don't have to, if you just kind of like, okay, I'm gonna go with what's going on. That's fine. But we don't know what's going on, and we don't want to take the time to see what's going on. We don't want to we'll sit up here and we will binge watch something on Netflix all day that means nothing, but won't sit and watch Dr. Anderson for 2 hours, won't sit and watch this for an hour and a half, right? And we say we want something done because we want to
2 hours. Hell, can we get 15 minutes?
Yeah, barely that. I got little videos that I started doing for a minute. People, and you get a report. People watch 3 seconds, 4 seconds. That's not hurting me, right? It's not hurting me. And it's just kind of where we're at. So I think that when he says collective, so let me give y'all an example. So here in Detroit, we have the largest Middle Eastern population in the country, period. And where I'm at, I live around a bunch of them, and I've done business with them. Everybody in Detroit, we pretty much know how they move, right? And they own a bunch of stuff, and they own a lot of stuff more than, sometimes other races. And so, and there's all different subsets of them, right? You got different religious ideologies and all that. But one thing they do across the board is they move as a unit. And so, say for instance here, right, they get a store. And I was told this by one of them, right? Say somebody go get a liquor store. What they do is their family works in that store, right? For a little bit of money. Not a whole lot of money, a little bit of money. They typically are living together in course of their sharing quarters, and all that. And they kind of piled on top of each other. So it's not like, okay, because with us, we all got to have our own little places, right? We all got to have our own little places. So we can do that math another day, but just think about let's say it's 20 of us in the family, and 10 of us got our own place, right? Compared to maybe 2 of them, they got 2 households from 2 different houses sharing the resources and all that. Besides the point. So they get the liquor store, and the family works in the liquor store. Now, we of course are big on passing down the family business, but just let's say somebody want to do an auto shop. What the person that owns that business does is they may pay, and this, I'm getting this right from them. They may pay the person $6, $7 an hour, right? But what they're doing every month or however they do it, they're putting away, and I'm just guessing, y'all, but this is the formula. They're maybe putting away $1,000, $1,500 toward that person's business. So once they work 7 years in that store, they now have the front money to go start their business. And then what do? They bring their family works in that. And so, yeah, even with them, every single person's not in the same business, and you don't have to be, but it's all under the banner. They're sharing resources, right? They're putting each other in business. That's what they do. You know what I'm saying? And so I think when we're talking about moving as a collective, yeah, we're going to get the whole world to do that. No, you start with a tribe of people. You start with a tribe and you build up. But that's the sense, right? We don't want to sacrifice nothing. We want to be 16, 17, 18, driving the best, wearing the best, going the best. Nobody wants to sacrifice. Nobody wants to drive a used car for a couple years. Nobody. We're too busy being materialistic to get there. Because then that asks again, how do we fix this? First of all, we got to be educated, right? We got to sit through the education and understand where we're at. But the other thing is we got to understand how this world works. We don't. Black people don't understand how the world works. Black people don't understand how finances work. We don't get it, right? And because we don't get it, that's how we always get taken advantage of, because we don't get it. And enough of us don't get it to make a difference. That's my personal opinion. Let's look at this chart right here. This is actually an official chart from the census. And it has the income from 1960 to 2019. Right now, I picked Black men and Black women. Now, if you guys want me to change this or want to see something else, just let me know. And we see here the bottom is Black women, and we see it going up, going up. What's that year you wanted me to check, Mathino? 72?
72.
Around 72. Okay. So around 72. Now, why did it just do that? I didn't, as y'all see, I didn't do that. I didn't do that. So let me go. I got to go back here and pick these off and go back, because I didn't tell it to do that. Okay. Black men and Black women. Okay. Okay. Something, Mathino, you can see that something happened here, and then it went drastically up. So something happened around there, right?
Change the year. You can just change the year.
Well, if you're looking at, I don't know what you're seeing, but this is a graph. So the year is on the bottom.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how it goes. So it goes from, this is 60 all the way to 2020.
Okay.
So I'm not sure if you guys can see. Let me see. Let me look at that, because I'm looking at the. Can y'all see the whole thing where they have the year and all that?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay. So as you guys can see, this is Black women. Now we want to give away a couple myths, and I don't want to make this a gender show, right? But you can see a myth busted. Black women do not make more money than Black men. It's a myth. It's never been in the history. So as you can see, from 1960 all the way to now, and something happened here. Black men went way up here. What year is this? This is 78. That must have been the what you're talking about, Pino. So around there, Black men started making a lot of money. They went way up. Then it dropped way down. Y'all see that? Then it's coming up. So Black men have been on a curve, up and down, but they still were over. Now let's add to this equation white women. Let's add white women. Now, what's crazy about this, white women are kind of in between Black men and Black women until around, what year is this? Around 2000s. They start being right up there. And then up here, they are beating Black men. All right, let's look at white men. Add white men to the equation. They're way up here, right? They're way, so in 65, when Black women were making 21,000, Black men were making 28. I'm sorry, white women were making 28. Black men were making 32. The white men were making 49. Okay. And so we see that trajectory, and it's, you know, that gap never closed. But I'm about to give you a shocker. Let's look at Asian men. Let's look at Asian men.
They got everybody. I knew they had everybody.
Beat,
I
right?
knew it.
So we can't say that. We know why. We know what kind of jobs they have. Okay. So we see here Asian men are far out earning. I mean, and right here it's just a huge gap. We know why though. We know the technology jobs. So right now the average Asian man is making 75,000. Average white man is making 60. Another thing, we don't want to talk about this, but all this dreams of everybody making 100,000, it just ain't. It ain't reality.
It's not reality in terms of your standard office job or anything like that.
Correct.
And the young lady asked, what are solutions? Solutions, you know, just like Mathena was saying, you know, we all can diagnose the problems, but to find a cure, we have to look at what it is. Majority of the jobs that Black men have had were labor jobs.
Correct.
But if you take away the opportunity to have a paid skilled trade out of high school, you get rid of the trades, and there's a lack of qualified trade people, you have an instant drop in economic value to that person and to that community. So how do you fix it? Work. People have to get off their computer. They have to get out of their phone. Right, Doc? You got to work, because the work will bring about the answers. But I would say, you know, get out there and start doing more. And as you work, you come across more answers. You can find your path, and then things will open up for you. And then you find your way into a trade. You don't have to be a real estate millionaire.
No.
But service the industry. Be a carpenter. Be a lead inspector. Be a painter. You know, all of these are $45,000 a year jobs to 90 plus. You can be $100,000 a year earner in construction. It just depends on what you do. You could be. I had a friend of mine who was a truck driver, and he managed to run it so that he made about $250,000 a year with one rig. So the $100,000 a year jobs are there, but again, it comes back to, do you want to be average or do you want to be substantial? So the answer lies in, what do you want to be? If you want to be substantial, then you have to make more money, because if you're trying to pay off your student loan debts plus live, and then the word that everybody loves to throw around, I'm an investor. Well, what are you investing with? If you make $38,000 a year, damn it, you ain't got no money. So you're going to invest off of $38,000 a year when you check the check already? You need to have a full-blown working relationship just so you can afford your Comcast bill? No, you need to have more than one stream of income. That is the answer. More than one stream of income to make your life work. And then when you're able to have multiple streams of income and you can afford to do something else with the money, you have that extra money, put it off to the side and put it to work. Whether you learn how to trade stock options or you get into a real estate projects, if all you do is buy one property a month, not a month, well, one property a year. But on the prices that we have properties in Detroit, you kind of could buy one property a month.
Right.
And then after
if you prioritize, stop buying the $500, and literally people are paying $500 for their weaves.
Absolutely.
I know people that have $500,000 a month weed habits.
Yeah.
Ask anybody who works at a bank, they will tell you Black people are not broke. Anybody work at a bank. It's the way we spend the money. And the last thing I want to talk about is credit. But before we get into that, Jason, can you go over this page you sent me, this Black business? So one of the big things is that people got business.
Real quick before he does that.
Yeah.
Because I tell my students this: you must go to college. Let me look in the camera real good. You must go to college. I said, but before you turn off, you should ask me, because that's not what you're used to hearing. How do you define college?
Yeah.
Jason just mentioned truck driving. You have to have a after high school training session to be a truck driver. It may be 3 months, but you have to do something after high school, because I heard you all talk about the change of the skills in high school. I get it. I started teaching in 2004. I ran across a book called The Deliberate Dumbing Down of America.
Yes.
But even outside of that,
yeah,
if you don't want to live at $10 an hour, go find something to do that's going to pay you what you want. And my kids, they struggle to Google for that.
Yeah.
Because they don't have the skills underneath. So I tell them, go to school. I don't care if you want to become a pastry chef. You got to go to school after college to learn to do it, because that's where the money is. You're right. It's not in the office job as a secretary. My mother was an executive administrative assistant for 20-some years. She tapped out at like $14 an hour, maybe 16. But that was back in 1991.
Yeah, yeah.
And we just talking about 15 as a minimum wage now. The name of the game, like you all said, it's education, it's college, but it doesn't mean the 4-year Georgia Tech, Michigan State, University of Illinois. Go do something for 90 days. Get the first certificate. Go back next year, get another certificate. Yeah.
Or you take one of these online internet courses that people are selling that have some value in it, or you take one of the free courses that Google offers for you to get a tech job for free, making 60, 70, 80 a year after you take it.
Yes.
Or quick,
you just gotta go to school.
Free bookkeeping class, and then they send you work. Do something. You can't just survive off of your GED or your high school diploma or your underwater basket weaving degree from Michigan State University.
Right, right. All right. Just quickly, let's go over this form real quick, and then we're gonna talk about credit, and we getting out of here. So, Jason, what are we looking at right now?
So what we're looking at is this particular page is talking about the economics of Black-owned businesses from blackpeoplestats.com. And if you scroll down, it'll keep going.
Tell me when to stop.
Keep going. Stop. Black business job creation. So if you look at it, it's going to break down white, Asian, Hispanic, and lastly, Black in terms of job creation for that economic group. And of course, white is at the top because that's the largest demographic in the country. Their job creation, business job creation created 56.8 million jobs, which can employ 39% of all working age adults. Their businesses are the most and the widest, and they generate $11.6 trillion a year. So about half of our national deficit. And that's enough to pay each working adult, or each working white adult, $80,000 a year. And it breaks down the list, and it's also skewed by, number of population and what have you, but versus the businesses. Asians can do, they can employ 38% of their own with an average income of $65,000 a year. Hispanic can do 8% of their own, and that equates up to $11,000 a year. But here we are at the bottom. 1.2 million jobs is what's created by Black business job creation, only employing 5% of the working population of Black adults. And that's only to the tune of $4,800 per year. It's pretty paltry results, and that's more so based on, again, even though we're 30 million, give or take, in this country, we don't do enough. The majority of Black businesses are solopreneurs. They don't have any employees. And, that's basically somebody that bought a job. If you bought a job, whenever you're not working, you're not making money. So that's not a business. And it's to get anywhere, we have to get out of that kind of thought process, because everybody says I want to be an entrepreneur, but nobody wants to work with anybody. And the most money I've made was not necessarily from my own people. Strangers that I never met before I met them in my business liked what I had to say, liked my presentation, and just would stroke me a check. One guy stroked me a check for $480,000. I like it. Done deal. You, like Mathino said, you have to go with your tribe. Sometimes all skin folk ain't kinfolk. And
I say that all the time.
White ones, if they like what you have to say, because they know that you know your stuff, they will do business with you. There's your shot at your economics. And when you get to where you want to go, you can bring somebody that looks like you with you if they're talking and acting right. But you can't get there if you're busy trying to only deal with people that look like you, only deal with your family, and your family know you, and they don't think you, they still see you as little pee-wee from back in the day, and you don't know nothing. So, that's how we end up having only these numbers of 4,800 that you could pay somebody to work for you a year.
5%. I just want to take a look at these numbers, and we're going to talk about credit really quickly, and then we're getting out of here. So here's some hard numbers, y'all. Hard numbers. And people don't want to hear this because all we hear all day is everybody getting money, everybody's this, everybody's that. That's all we hear. Here's the reality. A single Black woman with a bachelor's degree from the age of 20 to 39 has a median net worth of negative 11,000 to zero. A white woman in that same range, it's not much more, but it's something. It's 3,400 to 7,500. Okay. A married Black woman with a bachelor's degree, age 20 to 39, has a median net worth of negative 20,000 to 7,700. While the white women have a net range of 18,700 to 97,000. Wow, right? Single Black woman, and here's what, I don't know who brought that up. I think it was you, Jason, talking about when you retire. What are you going to do when you retire? And I hope they don't think Social Security is going to get it, because it's not.
What Social Security?
Yeah, it's going to be gone by the time. Anyway, single Black women with a bachelor's degree over 60 have a median net worth of 11,000. You ready for this? White women the same age, net worth $384,000. Married Black women with a bachelor's degree over 60 have a median net worth of, now it gets a lot more, $424,000. White women, $778,000. And we don't have time to get into that today. You know, we'll do that in the future, but there's a whole economics over the generational wealth of passing wealth down through the family. The problem is we're starting over every single generation. Life insurance is not passing wealth. It's not. I'm sorry. I hate this. That's going to hurt somebody's feeling, but leaving your kids a life insurance is not passing them wealth. It's not passing them skills. It's not passing them anything tangible. I made a little chart, but I kind of botched it a little bit. Where's my little chart? I made a little chart, and I'll have to redo it. But basically, I wanted to talk about, and y'all can't see it, right? I wanted to talk about how wealth looked through about 40 years, right? And what it kind of did, it started off in the 60s. This is my little chart. Start off in the 60s with some families that was a jeweler, right? These families were jewelers. And another family, one was a teacher, one did something else, right? And so the family that was the teachers, they told their kids, hey, go and do whatever you want to do, right? So the kids went and did what they want to do. Everybody's in their own field. They're making money for their own people. They living good, right? While the jeweler family say, no, y'all going to be jewelers. So what it did was they passed the wealth of jewelers, right? The wealth of knowing how to make jewels, the wealth of having those resources and those connections, it passed it to that generation. And so that generation said, okay, our kids are going to also be what? Jewelers. While the independent people over here, go to school, do what you want to do, right? So now you got a whole nother, now we down 3 generations now, and you got the jeweler family. They're 3 generations into jewelry. So now they've gotten expertise. They've gotten human resources. They've gotten connections. I'm sure they're in politics. Their name is out there. They're connected with so many things, right? Because we're not just passing money, we're passing knowledge. We're passing those, and we forget about that. And over here, they're starting over every generation. Why? Because there's no knowledge being passed down. There's no skill set being passed down. We're just learning life survival skills. So their children start over every single generation. Every single generation, because all their wealth is into somebody else's business. All of it. And so they're going to, but we're doing good though. You're doing good. You got your nice little house. You got all that. But over here, they're passing knowledge. They're passing. And so in 100 years, these kids will work for them. We don't get that, right? The independent mindset that we have collectively is we don't get that. We don't get that wealth is just not money. It's passing knowledge. It's passing skill set. It's passing trade, right? We talked about truckers and all that. If your family is a family of cooks, right? If your dad was KFC, why in the world would you go start something else? You see what I'm saying? And your business should be able to accommodate everybody. Say you do have a cooking business and maybe your kid don't want to cook, but they on social media. Okay, You be our social media manager. You be our whatever. We got a place for everybody. So what I'm saying is, for me, the first tribe is the family. It don't all the time work, but you gotta try it, right? But we gotta understand that wealth is just not passing money, it's passing knowledge, it's passing trade, it's passing information. That also builds wealth. That also builds stability for your family. What these people do is they look down 100 years down the line and they say, I want to make sure my kids, my grandkids is good. We say, I got to get through the week and pay my rent. Survival.
But you're making 6 figures and you still talking about letting me just pay my rent. So.
Correct. You making 6 figures though. You going to Dubai. You got the best car. You got the best everything. You got the cigar lounge you got all of that, right? In the meantime, Warren Buffett in the same house he was in 50 years ago. And you understand what I'm saying? So a lot of that. So let's get into the credit right quick. All right. I'm going to let you start off, Doc, because that's your area. What's the number one issue with us with credit? What is the number one issue with us with credit, and how is it preventing us from getting to wealth?
The FICO score was invented in 1989.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So I tell people, this is my preface. I tell people, don't be mad at your mama, because your mama and your grandmama, credit back then for them was you go to the bank, you took your slips and they gave you a loan. There was no FICO score because the bank knew you.
Yeah.
Now it's automated. And the automation, people fail to remember that the automation is neither friend, ally, or enemy. It's just the automation. There's no emotion involved. So our biggest challenge is we still have a poverty mindset. That's the root of it all. That's the reason why people would rather have $100,000 in cash versus an 850 credit score. Oh. Because $100,000 in cash, you can go buy something to show people now that you got some money. Because poverty is only concerned with today.
Yeah.
So until we shake just being concerned about today, I'm not saying be like the evil ones. Be like the devil. Sorry. Because the devil was around a long time. He got a plan, right? But I'm not saying look down 150 years. But can we not plan for just March?
Tomorrow. Yeah, exactly.
And it's March 30th, but we're gonna do our plan for March on March 30th. And that creates us in the habit of always catching up.
Yes.
Which is why we got the student loan debt. I tell people I got $500,000 because my mother and I graduated college at the same time. So I didn't have any other choice.
Yeah.
But there's a choice now. So we got to come out of the poverty mindset, which only focuses on today. And then we can do some other stuff with an open mind.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. What happened to Kevin? He must have dropped out. Did he?
Yeah, he dropped out 15 minutes ago.
Oh, okay. He be doing that sometime. His thing do that. Thino, credit. What's the word on credit? You deal with real estate and other things like that. What's our biggest hindrance with credit, and why? How can we fix our credit? Collectively, how can we understand how things work right now?
Well, I think that for the most part, people just don't have a working knowledge of how it works and how it's a constant, it's a moving thing. It's almost like a moving, living thing, because my credit score goes up and down just in general. It's because I used some credit and to bring my score down. It's debt to income ratio is affected by that. How old some of my accounts are as they age, my credit score goes up. So I think that, for the most part, well, not I think, but I tell people, you can give yourself high blood pressure, concerned about what your credit score is on a day-to-day basis. This is going to always change. What I tell my clients and people in general who ask, so come up with a plan first. Once you have a plan for what you buy a new car, start a business, now that's the time to credit score, to check your credit, be on top of it, be vigilant, ask as many questions as you can, because chances are if you got 780 credit, it'll probably be 780 for a good 3 to 4 months before it drops down to 773 for no particular reason other than some credit company might say, oh, you didn't use this $40,000 that we extended you. So, we're going to cut you down to 27. It had nothing to do with you or anything that you were doing. But guess what? Your score drops. Yeah. So don't even wreck your brain and give yourself a heart attack being so concerned about what your credit score is. As long as you're paying your bills on time, it's until you have a plan. Say, you know what? I'm going to, a truck driver. I'm going to buy a new truck. I'm going to do this, do that. Now, once you have that plan, now do everything you're supposed to do. Once you get that 780 back or that 800, time to strike. Strike right then and there, because you're not going to hold that 800 for,
That's so true.
18 months from now. It's just not going to happen. They make more money off you having bad credit than having good credit. So why are they going to allow you to have good credit for long stretches of time? I mean, not saying good credit, but that high, perfect score, And not only that, so FICO has, you have there's like more than 5, there may be even 10 sets of standards, credit standards on your name. So you may check your credit through Credit Karma or whatnot, and it'll say, hey, you are 720, 740, right? Until you go try to buy a house.
Don't give it you're giving away my program, Thino.
You're right. Now you go try to buy a house. Now they're telling you your credit is 690 and 700. You're like, whoa, wait a minute. Because they go by different standards. Okay. Standards of credit. And these are things that they don't teach you. They don't teach you this at all. I don't know. I stumbled upon this knowledge by just taking a few classes, and a few guys came in, and they broke it down. They work for they work for the bank, and they told me, and I said, wow, never knew that. Chances are 9 out of 10 people don't know it half the time.
Wait, let me interrupt you. At least somebody told you. You see the dents in the back of my head, bro? Every dent in the back of my head was me learning the damn hard way. My mother and I graduated college at the same time. What was she gonna tell me?
Right.
And the people don't want to know, but that's another conversation. But I'm with you. At least somebody told you. I learned everything I know the hard way.
Because now there's a new standard, right, Jason? They got this Vantage, because you got the FICO, and what's up with this Vantage? I just started seeing this Vantage like last week. I'm like, what is Vantage? Y'all heard about this?
Of course I have. I did an episode on it.
Okay.
I've heard about it, but what I'll say about credit is this. You don't really get it if you don't use it.
Right.
And if you got it, it's not some cherished keepsake. It's supposed to flex back and forth.
Yeah.
And you got to use it. You can't do anything in life if you just, I'm going to keep my credit. I've got my 750. I'm aiming for my 800 credit score. Okay, then what? So now you got credit, but you're not doing anything with the credit. You have to do something. Yes, you got to have a plan. Either you get, again, a loan against your real estate using your credit, buy a business, build a business, buy a truck, buy a couple trucks. If all you do is get you about 3 box trucks and put some people in them and start doing some local logistics, you'll make the money, but you got to do something with the credit. And don't be afraid to use it. It goes up, it goes down. Just don't be, stay under your 30% utilization rate. Don't go buy a bunch of garbage and, focus on just not making bills, use it and enjoy it. But especially for those people who are starting to have a business, have credit in your business.
You have
They'll
to
give you more money in your business than they will in your personal name, just because by the nature of what it is, the business can earn more than you can in your 1040 job.
Absolutely.
There's your secret. There's your solution.
Yeah, absolutely. Before we get out of here, last word. We know we got some rumblings going on, and I talked to all 3 of y'all about this subject here. How can the war impending war, even what's going on now, affect people's finances, and what should people do right now? Because some people are in a panic. You know, gas right now in LA is $8. It's $8, and then gas affects everything. So how can the war, and then we're getting out of here, how can the war potentially affect people's finances, and what can people do? Because the people can start, they're starting to get concerned now, like, okay, whoa, wait a minute now. Dre, what can we, first of all, can the war affect our finances, and what can people do practically to kind of guard themselves from it?
Funny, because I was late because I did my video for the day. It was announced the interest rates are up. The good thing about that is the bank account that was paying 0.00000 line over at 1 interest will now pay you 0.25.
Okay, gotcha.
So that's better.
Okay.
The challenge is if something went up, something else is gonna go down. Like,
okay,
let's not play that game. So yeah, my salary, which was doing this at the grocery store, is now gonna have to start doing this at the grocery store because everything is gonna go up. So what I told my folks was, you have 60 to 90 days to get your credit up. Why? Okay. Because you want to have access to some other funds as yours begin to decrease.
Gotcha.
I don't care that they tell you, don't have debt. They got it.
Right.
They just aren't obligated because they didn't use it until they needed it. Robert Kiyosaki says you get credit before you need it. So in the next 60 to 90 days, I'm telling my folks, get your stuff together. Get your interest rates down. You should have a credit card that has some perks to it. I made more money in credit card rewards last year than most people made in interest. Somebody would have had to have $3 or $4 million in the bank at 0.000 with the line over the 1 interest to come up with $350, which is what I got from a credit card last year.
Okay.
At 0% interest.
Wow.
So put the stuff in place now. Your loan should be fixed term, not this up and down stuff. If you got a Orchard Bank, a First Premier, one of them crap cards, get rid of them because their rate is 20% plus whatever. Yeah. And what changed is the interest rate went up, so the plus just went up. They're forecasting seven more increases. So what used to be 5% no interest plus 2% is now going to be 5% plus 5%. So a good credit interest rate might be 10% after a while on a mortgage. That's what happened in the 70s and 80s from what I've read and seen. So just get your credit up. Get ready the best you can.
Okay. Thino, the war, how is it going to affect the pocketbooks, and what's advice you can give people to kind of safeguard it?
I don't know. I don't know if this is advice or if it's sound advice, but it felt good for me. I just pulled my cash out the bank because I got credit cards. So
Very good advice.
So I just figured, why am I going to have my money sitting in the bank for they can make loans on fractional reserve banking, make loans and then charge me, and not give me anything off my money. So I took my money out the bank. So, I use credit cards and I just pay them off. And I keep my cash. As a matter of fact, I was thinking I might keep my money in the bank, but I might put in a safety deposit box.
Right.
And that way, if something happened and the war just put me in dire straits, they can't seize my money.
Right. And that part. How about that part? That's a whole nother. Because I heard today they was like, pull your American companies out of Russia, but Putin say, okay, freeze. So Jason, how can the war affect people's money, and what can they do to kind of ride the wave?
Well, just like my brother said, for every major thing that happens, it does mess with the interest rate. Interest rates just went up today, and they're almost guaranteed to continue to rise. History doesn't repeat, but it sure does rhyme. People have to understand that the market moves in cycles. Not necessarily predictable cycles, but almost. There has been, in the right circles that you listen to, there's been an attempt to try to bring the market down for some years now. Everybody thought that it was going to crash at some point. It steamrolled right through every single crash, the stock market and the real estate market especially. So money has been cheap. It's been readily available. Quantitative easing did not bring the market down. Stimmy didn't bring the market down. Maybe Corona didn't bring the market down. Maybe a war will. So I said all that to say this. When one thing goes down, another thing always goes up. You have to educate yourself and find out what is prospering and thriving in the time of war. So if it's in the stock market, you may want to be in defense stocks. You may want to just trade the VIX and see what you can get off the volatility on options trades.
Yeah, my GE stock did go up.
There you go.
Oh, okay.
So
thanks for the tip. Give me the tip. Give me a tip ahead of time.
There you go. So you're going to have some things that go up. You're going to have some things that certainly go down. But the things that you want to keep close to heart is make more money. Try to come up with more income streams, because gas is not done going up. My expectation is that will be $5 before summer hits.
Yeah.
And going to keep on going from there. Hopefully we don't see 7, but if you make enough money, it doesn't matter what gas goes to. And as far as, Russia did have some banks that shut down. They had a couple of bank runs. People emptied out some ATMs. Are they done? Is their money gone? No. All this stuff is manufactured. You have to understand that everything with the market is always manipulated. Absolutely. There is no free trade. Right. And it's all computer controlled. It's going to do what it wants to do. The main thing you want to do is stay out of the middle of the traffic when a light turns green. Don't get run over. So if it goes to a point where, the bank shut down and there's no more money, we've officially entered the age of Mad Max, and money in your pocket is going to help you. You're going to need a 45 and an AR and some barbed wire fences around your homestead, which will require you to have some land. So you better hope that it doesn't come to that. But the main thing to keep you, your family, and your loved ones safe is, I would say, come up with more income. Make a second income, make a third income, do it by your cell phone, do it by your Instagram, put your kids to work, let them do something on the internet so they can do something to earn their goddamn keep.
Except shaking their ass on TikTok.
Oh, God.
Unless it's paying you.
No, we're not going to have our daughters doing that. No.
Kim Kardashian, no, none of that.
No, we're not.
They can do that for the whole.
Yeah, we're not going to do that. Yeah. All right, y'all. So we're gonna get out of here. Just FYI, everybody. I'm doing one show next week, and then I'm gonna take a break because this is gonna be my big birthday, and I'm kind of just recalibrating my life. But we'll be back. We'll be back. But I'm gonna take a break. I can't say for how long, but I'm gonna take a break. So next week we're talking about family, and then it'll be it for a minute. So thank you, fellas. And I think my last I'm not a financial person, that's why I had y'all do this. But I think, no problem, Arnetta, you're quite welcome. I think my advice for the war thing, beyond what the fella said, is that get a plan for your family. And I'm real big. I've always been real big on putting kids in business. What I've started doing with my grandson is I'm showing him how to edit videos. He just started, so I'm showing him how to edit videos. And all of that. My daughters grew up in the business with me. They kind of went their own way, and I'm not gonna comment on that. But I'm teaching him how to edit. So teach your kids a skill. Teach your grandkids a skill. Include your kids in your business. Y'all got real estate. I don't know what you do, but bring the kids with you. Bring them with you. Bring your kids with you when you're handling your. I don't care what. If you drive a truck, bring your kids with you. Have your kids involved. With your business. As far as the war, I agree with Eno. Take some cash out and get your debt down. I've been strategically paying off my debt. I had asked him some advice a couple of weeks ago. I'm gonna tell you, I made some calls and like, hey, if I pay this off, will you take it off?
And they say, hey, we do two things. Now we can give you a lower price and we'll keep it on your credit report. But if you pay what's in there, we'll delete it. And I'm telling you right now, them deletions, some of those deletions, 50, 60 points up automatically. Automatically. I'm talking about one,
I know,
bad account on my credit. So I have been actively trying to, because I do have a goal, but I've been actively working on my credit. And I can tell you over the last 100 days or so, not 100 days, last 30 days or so, I think my TransUnion is probably almost up 100 points just from that stuff. No kidding. People are like, how'd you do it? How'd you do it? Pay the debts off, make a call, make a deal. These people just want their money. Just say, hey, I'm going to pay you the money, take it off. They're like, okay. So that's what I've been doing. So I suggest you do this. So like you said, you have access to more credit and more things and more money in your pocket. So, all right. Thanks, guys. And
all right.
I'll be back on here in a few minutes because I got some news to share. All right, y'all. Peace.
Peace.
I need a man.
Bye, everybody.
All right. Get the book, y'all.